Hey guys, EBPMAN here. Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an all-terrain hunting bike. This one is from Vtuvia, and it's the SN100 26-inch. It's a beast of a bike. It goes fast, it goes far, and boy does it pack power. Let's go to check it out. Now this bike is spec'd out to support riders 5'8" and above. I'm 5'6" and I had no problem riding this bike. It does have a max payload of 330 pounds and it has a 750 watt brushless motor. Hydraulic brakes, which is going to give you a delightful, again, braking experience. And from a speed perspective, given my weight of 180, 175, I was able to exceed 25 miles per hour. Now, this bike does have a 48-mile range. And one of the things that we'll say is that the display, while very colorful, I did have some difficulty watching or being able to see it in direct sunlight. So watch the angle in which you put the actual display so that you can get higher visibility. So it's really about how do you tilt the screen itself. Now the screen is super informative and very colorful, and it's going to have your time, your speed. It's going to have your pedal assist information, which you could go anywhere from 1 to 5. Now, one of the things that I'll also highlight is that it does have front shocks, and it has Moza front shocks, which give you really nice riding experience, which you can adjust the shock intensity to help, especially when it comes to your wrists. The other thing is that it's IPX4 rated. It does feature a 7-speed Shimano system, and the tires, these tires are massive tires. We're talking about 26-inch, 4-inch wide Kenda tires, and these are going to be puncture resistance tires that are going to give you a great riding experience, and it's also going to give you that peace of mind when you're out on the trail. Now, before taking a closer look at the bike, let's take a look at this lock for a second. So the lock is a braided steel lock. It does have a combo on it. The default combination is 0. You want to change that, right? But this is how it opens up. And what I like about this is that it's very compact. But then what ends up happening is it kind of expands really nicely. And you can use this to secure your bike. Easy to put the combination in, unlock it, and go. And what I like about it is that it's so compact that if you really think about this, this fits in a backpack. This fits in cargo shorts if you have, if you're wearing those. It fits on the bike like we said. But if you don't want to have it mounted on the bike, you can always have it on your person. But it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's one extra step to secure your bike. Now, the first thing that we'll take a look at in the Vtuvia SN100 26-inch hunting bike are the tires, because hey, it's in the name, right? So we're taking a look at 26-inch, 4-inch wide fat tires. Now these tires are Kenda tires, and they feature puncture resistant, right, type technology that's going to give you worry-free ride as you're riding this bike. The other thing that we'll look at is that we do have a Shimano system. This is a 7-gear system that we find on a lot of e-bikes, but it's very well implemented here. Shifting from gear to gear is very effortless, and also as I would say the power kicks in with the Shimano manual system, that passive assisted technology kind of integration is really, really smooth. No jerkiness whatsoever when you're pedaling. Now, on the back of the tire here, you're also going to be able to see the 750 watt brushless gear motor. And again, that's going to give you some really decent torque. And also, it's easy to access the throttle on this bike. Of all the bikes that we've reviewed to date on the channel, I find that this one has the fastest pickup that we've reviewed and has a fantastic top speed of 25 miles per hour, at least from what it's saying on the actual display. And then also, we did test this with the speed cam, and it hit the same speed. Now, our unit did come with this mounting rack. Highly recommend this, especially if you want to be able to carry any groceries or anything with you that is not extremely heavy. The total payload for this bike is 330 pounds. I'm 170, 180, and this bike did extremely well with me. We love actually carrying groceries and going to the store with our e-bikes, so this is definitely a must-have accessory. Now, looking at the back of the bike, one of the things that stands out immediately is the fact that you have some really pronounced treads on these tires. But also, one of the things that's missing on this bike is any kind of rear-facing LED. So there's no LED in the back, no brake light, and that's something that you need to consider if you are going to pick up this bike. Now, the saddle for the bike is a Velo saddle. This is a very comfortable saddle. Really love how thin profiled it is, and it's incredibly comfortable to ride in. You do have a nice adjustable seat mounting system here that requires no tools either.
Now, removing the battery does require a key, but there's no key required in order to be able to use the electric assist in the bike. That I really appreciate. But simply plug in the key or put in the key in this area, turn it, and the battery comes off. Now, the front fork of the bike does have hydraulic suspension. It's an Shimano System. Really delightful ride. You do have some adjustments here. I like how high up the adjustment is. It does give me the ability to make an adjustment as I'm riding. Again, don't recommend that you do that unless you've been riding for a while, but I have been able to adjust it and just make sure I get the right tweak or feel as I'm riding. So you can change it, you can lock it, you can make it softer, you can make it harder. Great experience so far just with the suspension in the front of the bike. Now, cable management for the bike is relatively in good condition. I like you have all the cabling that gets tucked away here in the side. So while in the front you see some cabling, you really don't see much, if any, cabling happening on any other area of the bike. Everything gets nicely tucked away. You do have a nice square LED headlight. This is pretty bright. I love the look of it. You know, typically you see headlights that are round. Having something like this that is square makes it really sharp. Now, you do have dual hydraulic brakes in the SN100, both in the back and in the front. And the response of the brake system is very pleasant. It will stop when you want to, but it will not stop or it won't jerk all of a sudden like you may have experienced in other bikes. It's a very gradual, nice stop, but if you want it to stop and you press hard on the actual front and rear brake, it's going to stop. Now, everything in the handlebar is easy to access. You do have your Shimano system here so that you can go ahead and change the gear that you're on. You have your throttle, and it's not really in the way. You have your passive assist mode, increase and decrease with power and also function. We did review, or we're checking out, this actual side mirror that you can order as well. Like having something like that on the side. And then we also have been looking at a lock system. I'll tell you, with a bike like this, you want to have a lock system, something that's convenient and easy. And the neat thing about this is that this can mount on the bike. So if you want to have this on the seat, that's something that you can mount as an additional accessory. Now, as I was riding the bike, and I did mention that it was a little hard to read in direct sunlight, one of the things that I did during my ride is that I did move the actual display and put it in an angle, and it resolved my viewing issues. So the display is easy to read, especially if you have it in the right angles. What I would do is, as you're riding outside, I loosened the actual screws because depending on the angle of the light, you may want to push it up or you want to be able to push it down, but without moving the steering column. So this has some screws on the sides that allows you to play with that. But display is easy to read. You can see how much content is in here, and you can look at time, modes. There's just a lot of information in this display. Now, this front LED is also pretty bright. I'm just going to press and hold the plus button, and you can see how bright this is. So it does light up a really good area. Now, for those of you who I'm sure are going to be interested in protecting your bike and locking it up, you can actually mount, again, the cable lock in the back here. Push this button and release it rather quickly.
All right, guys, let's talk about this e-bike. Now, this bike is spec'd out, and it's also a beast. This, I put it in Hummer classification or Hummer category when it comes to e-bikes. We're talking about, first of all, 26-inch Kenda tires, puncture resistant. 4-inch fat tires, as you can see, with fantastic tread. In addition to that, you have a 750-watt motor, a 48-mile range, and we're going to see what the top speed on this baby is. It has a Shimano front suspension fork that is going to give you a really pleasant ride. It has 5 pedal assist modes. Let's go ahead and put one of those to work. So pedal assist is on now. It's running out of breath there for a second. As you can see here, life is good again. It does also have, I just want to say, one of the most, awe-inspiring presence when it comes to bikes. This thing, again, is a looker. Anyone who passes me up, it's like, has to stop and look, because she's big. She's really big. So we're also talking about a hydraulic brake system. So you want to stop, it will stop. And it stops nice and smooth, or it will stop all of a sudden. It also has, obviously, front and rear disc brakes, which is going to give you a very balanced stop when you have to stop. The fork, as I was mentioning The Mozo fork is really pleasant. I haven't really adjusted anything. I'm right now using the stock settings, haven't done anything. But I will say that this bike is really designed to go on all terrain. It really is. Now, despite it being able to go anywhere, one of the things I'll mention about the bike is that it's very quiet. This is a really quiet bike. It does have a 7-speed Shimano system, so I'm right now on gear 5, and it is very comfortable, especially with that pedal assist. It is uber comfortable to ride. I just really, really like the overall pedal assist, and just the way the power gets introduced to your pedal is very natural. It's not something that you feel that you're going to be jerked out of the bike in any way. So love the fact that it feels, again, so nice. Now you'll notice that I have some accessories with me today. So first of all, I have a rear rack on this bike because it has a payload of 330 pounds. So you can carry groceries, some goodies behind you. The other thing that I have is a side mirror, right? So this side mirror is going to give me, again, the ability to see what's going on behind me, right? Although I am very much seen in this bike. No issues here. The bike has, I would say, one of the most striking front LED lights that I've seen on a bike. I really like the square pronounced nature of the LED that you have in front. So that is really, really nice as well. It has a color display, but I'll say that I'm having difficulty reading it in direct sunlight. We'll have to see if there's a brightness setting. Now, as far as controls go, you have a really nice cluster here going on. The handlebar is wider, obviously, because of the stockiness of this bike. But I will say that everything is within reach. I have on this side, obviously, my brake, and I have my power system here. I can determine to turn it on, turn it off, turn off the lights. I also have my pedal assist modes here on the side. I do have in the middle my display, and again, everything is easy to access. Shimano System on the side here, can gear up, gear down. And then I have the throttle on this side. The grips, one thing I'll notice about the grips is that most bikes that we've been reviewing have a wrist support on here. And it may be because since this is really about a hunting bike, it's about all terrain, it doesn't have the standard wrist support that you would see on some e-bikes. The actual grippiness of it is there. It actually has almost like it's rigid, but also very grippy, the material. I just can't describe it. It has like the stipple to it that's really nice. What we're going to be doing is we're going to check out acceleration in a couple seconds. This is going to be too short of a run, so we'll do an acceleration test in a second. But looking at the fork, you do have adjustment capabilities within reach right here. Not that I would advise that you do this while riding, but if you're an experienced rider and you want to go ahead and modify it as you ride, it's easy to reach right here and make that adjustment, as well as that there's a locking area as well. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of like a speed test. And we're going to see how quickly with pedal assist can we go. All right, so we're kicking in, and it says I am clocking it around 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 24.5, and you can see the effort. Not a lot of effort going on here, guys. 24, 25, 25.5 miles an hour. That's pretty spectacular. And you saw my breath. Not a lot of effort needed in order to pick up that speed. That is impressive. All right, guys, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run through another test. Now, this one is going to be not with pedal assist, but this time we're going to do 100% electric. We're going to see how fast this goes. All right, so coming almost from a complete stop, right? We're going to go ahead and do the electric. All right, full throttle, calling out the speed. 10 miles an hour, 14 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour, 19 miles an hour, 21 miles an hour, 22, 23, 24, 24, 25. right before hitting the stop. That wasn't bad. That was really good. Let's go ahead and do that again. We're gonna hit it, and we're gonna see when do we hit again 25 miles an hour. Let's see, 22, 25. Can we do 26? Can we do 26? 25.5, 25.5, 25.4, 25.5, I think is as fast as she goes. Let's see if I can get a little aerodynamic here and we can go faster. It doesn't look though. Let's go ahead and come to the stop. Now guys, you've heard me many times describe bikes as the woohoo bike. Like you go woohoo! So you know what? This is definitely one of them. We are right now gonna clock ourselves with the speed cam that's coming up. The bike says we're hitting 25 miles an hour. We'll see what our computer tells us when we do the video editing. But I'm gonna try to get as aerodynamic as I can, and we're gonna see what the speed cam tells us. Speed cam is coming up, and it is clocking me. Can you guys see that? 24, 25 miles an hour. That is spectacular. Love it, love it, love it. All right, now guys, we're gonna do a bump test. So we're gonna go into some roughy terrain. Not gonna be like dangerous or anything, but this trail does have a lot of bumps to it, even though it is paved. And I just wanna see how well the bike really goes through it. How much pressure does it put on my wrists? So we're gonna see that in a second. All right, and we're gonna do this all electric. So this is really bumpy here. On your left. A lot of families out today. And the bumpiness is definitely present, but the bike is doing well. I don't really hear much of any rattle outside of my camera gear that's making some noise. But it's doing really, really well. So who's this bike for? I'd say anyone who wants power. That's number one, because this thing has power. Two, anyone 5'8" to 6'8". Now I'm 5'6" and a half. I'd love to be taller, but I'm not. And I'm doing fine on this bike. So I'd say, just in my opinion, right? If you're 5'6", you're fine. I think Nilda would be afraid of this bike. She was looking at it, she says, oh, that's too much of a bike for me, because it is stocky. It has presence and it has power.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.